I'm Judy Stiles. Thank you for joining us this week on Newsmakers. Our focus this week is Joplin Workshops, and joining me is Jeff Jones, the director. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
And you've been in Joplin for more than 60 years for Joplin Workshops.
Well, we've been around 52 years in Joplin, and so we celebrated our big 50th anniversary a couple years ago. So. Yeah, we've
long
been a
history
part
in
of
the community. And of course today we're talking about Joplin, but you also have Carthage.
That's right, and this year's actually Carthage's 50th anniversary, so they're a couple years apart, but I kind of spend time between both shops. So
as director, someone asks you, what is your role as director? How do you do it?
Well, I guess I'm responsible for making sure that we're operating efficiently and that we have jobs for our disabled folks to do, and looking for opportunities to employ more folks with disabilities. It's really kind of, I think, my focus right now.
So you're really out in the community a lot, visiting with people and talking to them. What about the mission, or somebody say, what's the purpose of Joplin? Do you have a mission or some statement that you would say, well, this is what we do?
Well, our whole goal is to employ more people with disabilities, but we do several things to do that. And so we have packaging jobs that we do, where we do repacks or component packaging or light assembly type work. We do some recycling. We do a myriad of things to employ people, and we're always looking for some other way to keep people busy.
It's a lot of opportunities. And how many people, as we're recording this program in February, are you employing at this time?
Well, we've got 65 total in Joplin, and we're at 70 in Carthage, so pretty similar in size and pretty similar in the things we do too.
Now, for someone who is disabled, how do they get a job or get employed by Joplin Workshops?
Well, they'll have to come to 520 South Michigan and fill out an application, and it's kind of a process for our folks. Once they fill out the application, then we have to certify them with the state. So we'll collect some diagnosis information to allow us to do that. And once we've cleared those hurdles, then if we've got an opportunity, we'll bring them in and put them to work.
Great. Now, is there a supply and demand? I mean, perhaps there are more people who could use jobs. You say you're trying to find people with jobs. Are there more people out there?
We do have a waiting list right now, and it's just that we need more activities for our folks to do, and so we're excited. We'll probably talk about it in a minute, but we've just converted our old laundry building into some warehouse space, and so we're looking to bring customers in for storage, but also those customers would be something that we would maybe do some repack for, or some assortment packing, or a pick line, or drop shipping, and then those would all be ways that we'd employ more people.
Great. So we'll talk today on the program about some of the programs that you are using, implementing for people. I know that there's been a lot of changes over the years. You've gone through some transitions. You mentioned your old laundry building. That went by a couple of years ago. Unfortunately, had a fire, but you had transitions, a key to success for your business.
Well, that's it. I think you have to be flexible to change with the times, and we're faced with challenges all across the way anymore. A few years ago, the federal government changed the WOEA Act, which requires all of our folks to have vocational training each year, and so that's kind of another hurdle that our folks have to go through. And then you go with the recent minimum wage change, that impacts how our jobs are bid, and so it's just business and life, and you have to adapt or you won't be here.
So, even though you're a nonprofit organization, you have to operate like a business. You have to take those budget matters into account. That the wages went up so many, cents an hour.
Yeah. So, I mean, there are 89 workshops in Missouri, and each one of us is our own business unit, and so we have to turn a profit in order to exist, and so we have to adjust prices with customers and be competitive, because not only are we competing. We're competing with every other business that doesn't necessarily employ disabled folks. So.
Well, you mentioned the number of workshops in Missouri. Is there networking, or do you work with the others and together?
We do. We have the Missouri Association of Sheltered Workshop Managers, and that's kind of our organization. One of the things they've been working hard at putting a profile for each shop, so you can go to that website and see what each of the individual shops does. So we all do similar things, but all of us are diverse too. Most of us have kind of our own niche business,
right.
Like the laundry was kind of our niche business in Joplin. Carthage is document destruction now, and that had transitioned from filling eggs for vending machines. We'd done that for a lot of years, and of course that technology's
no
changed.
longer needed, right?
And so, but yeah, so it's just trying to find that next new thing. And I think one of those things for Joplin is going to be the screen printing and embroidery business. So we've had that in-house for about 3 months now, 4 months, and kind of got the kinks worked out, I guess, so to speak. And so we're looking, if you need a shirt printed, or you've got a softball team or something that wants t-shirts with numbers and players' names and logos, we have all that capability, and would love an opportunity to try to earn that business.
So you will work with organizations, clubs, anybody who would need that type of screen
If you got
print.
$1, we'd be willing to take it.
What about the design aspect? Does somebody need to come in with the design, or how does that part?
Yeah, if you have it, but we do have access to folks that can make that happen for us. So yeah, we're kind of a full service shop on that. So.
And that's a newer operation. You said 3 months or so of getting it going. So you have the equipment, obviously, to be able to do that. Is that new equipment then that came to the shop?
Yeah, Kurt Medlin actually is working with us, and that's where we acquired that equipment. And he actually owns a couple of those pieces too. He's got a thermal printer, and it'll print on just about anything. So we've got customers that we print part numbers on metal parts, or we'll put your logo on some of those stainless steel cups, or
so promotional items as well as t-shirts and so forth.
We'll do about anything. If you can think you can print on it, we'll find a way to put it on there.
So from the company or organization side, somebody who's watching said, well, how can I find out more? Do you have a system where they would contact you? How do they go through that?
Just call our shop, 781-2862, and we'll take care of you.
So you'll have an appointment, meet with them, and talk about what's happening and what you're doing. So well, let's talk about some of the work that people are doing, and we've talked a lot about diversity and what you're looking at. You mentioned the warehouse earlier. So people might be curious about that. I mean, what are the opportunities that come up with having a big warehouse type of situation?
Well, one of the things, just storage and handling. So if you, it seems like a big space to some, to others it's not that big a space, but we've got 16,000 square feet that we're trying to fill up right now. And so storage and handling, we charge so much per pallet, and then to handle it, and then or just looking for pick line opportunities or drop ship opportunities. Those are all things that we can do at Joplin Workshop. And so we've done that in the past. If you've got a product that you want to send around the country, you can store it there and then just send us the order, and we'll ship it out, and then we just charge you a fee for it. So
when you talk new terms such as pick line and assembling and so forth, so let's explain what's involved. Sometimes you have products that aren't complete and you help finish the product for people?
That's correct. Sometimes we get 25 different items that go inside a kit, and it'll make an overall product. And so we do some educational kits like that in Carthage. Joplin has done something similar, but so those all go in one kit, and then they get shipped out to a school or a customer or whomever might want it. We've done that also with some umbrellas and some things like that go in your receiver hitch, and so they would get their order on their website, send it to us, and we would ship it to their customer.
So you're completing the process for people. They may be making the product, but you're helping.
They're the inventor or the innovator, and so then we just take care of the mechanics of storing it and shipping it for them. So allows them to not invest in a lot of space and wasting their time handling that, and we take care of that for them, and then allows them to focus on sales and innovating the next new thing. And so there are a lot of people out there with a lot of ideas, and we just try to help them see that to fruition there. So
you work with companies of all sizes, whether it's that new entrepreneur starting a new company, has some new ideas, new products, to some bigger companies, corporations.
That's right. So we've got some bigger manufacturers in town that we're storing some of their product for, and then, like I said, if you're a new guy looking to do something like that, we'd love to try to help you too.
Help them out as well. So some of the things we, in the past, I know have talked to the workshops and talking about things like just packaging, sorting and putting things in package, but also including the shrink wrapping, getting it ready to go out the door.
Yeah. So we are an FDA inspected facility in Joplin, so we can handle food items and dog food type items or pet food type items. So we do some packaging and repackaging of things like that. And so we'll fill the package, seal it, put it in a master case, and then ship it out to that customer. If they want it to go to their facility, we'll ship it back to them and then they ship it out. So we just provide that labor. So a lot of times those smaller projects are very time consuming and costly when they can run their production line more efficiently. So we'll do some of that offline stuff at our place to allow them to be more efficient in the plant.
So you're helping fill in that gap perhaps for them, so they're not having to go to the personnel and the time to do that type of thing for many people.
And it's usually a more time consuming process where the line's more automated. And so we help them with that labor component too.
Great. What about skill-related jobs where somebody may be having to do drilling or assembling and things like that?
We do that. So we've got a couple customers where they send us raw materials and we basically finish them and prepare them to be assembled or welded. Then they go, we don't necessarily do the welding at our place. They send it out to another step in the process. They weld it up and it's powder coated. It comes back to us. Then we finish the assembly process, package it, and palletize it so it's ready to ship to their customer. So we can kind of do the front end prep, and then somebody's doing kind of the middle work, and then we finish it off.
You finish it off so it can go out to the people who are going to receive it and so forth. I know at one point there were some mailings involved as well. People have, I've got to send out thousands of letters and sort them and collate it and everything. We
do a lot of collating. We do a lot of those mailers, and so we've done Christmas cards. So company wants to give every one of their employees a $25 gift card. We'll put it in a card. It usually goes on a little sticky dock, put it in an envelope, and so each individual one is sent out. We do educational packets where there may be 25 different pieces of paper in there, or it'll be a classroom packet, so a school could buy these packets with 30 project or same project all in one package, materials. And so the teacher just has to pull the shrink wrap off of it and it's ready to go for them. So it's pretty endless, anything you need. We do coupon books, some mailers like that. We staple some magazines together too that are at local convenience stores. So there's a wide range of things that we can do there.
Now you mentioned Carthage and I guess the destruction side of things. You're assembling a job on a lot of things, but you talk about the shredding of the paper.
So both facilities do some recycling, and we're similar in the fact that we take cardboard, plastic, aluminum, and paper. So that's one of the things as I'm kind of the director of both now, we've worked more hand together. So Joplin, they've got some folks sorting paper. We actually ship it to Carthage. Carthage buys it from Joplin.
So the two companies, they're organizing, right.
And so then we shred it, and then it all gets sent to a paper mill to be turned into new paper. And so what it's done is given us a little more economy of scale. We've got more volume, so that allows us to turn loads quicker, and then we get paid quicker for those kind of things. So kind of give you an idea, cardboard wise, we've done about 1.5 million pounds a year, and then on the paper side we're right at 2 million pounds between all the varieties. And so I was looking at it, I'd applied for a grant with Region M Solid Waste District for some trailers for Joplin, and so I was trying to, it's hard to quantify plastic bottles because they don't weigh much. It takes about 250 bottles to make a pound.
So you can have a big pile of bottles.
And so I was like, well, yeah, we did about 5.5 million bottles last year. And so you think about 5.5 million bottles, that's a lot of space taken up in the landfill. And so I thought it was a better way of quantifying it than saying we did so many tons, you know. So, but yeah, those are some of the things we do there. So Carthage does document destruction as well. And so we're NAID certified, which is National Association for Information Destruction. Right. And so to get that certification, our folks go through background checks, drug testing, the building's monitored and surveilled 24/7. All of our trucks lock, our bins lock. And so we probably employ about 20 people daily doing that kind of activity, from sorting paper to picking it up to shredding it. And then Joplin employs about 8 people doing those similar functions, basically preparing it to go one way or the other. So.
And these sound like needs that companies would have, especially maybe the confidential papers that you can't toss in the trash, and you don't have the equipment in house to shred it, but you need to make sure that those things with numbers and information are destroyed.
And it works out good for both. When I became the director at Carthage a few years ago, at the time Ron Sampson was the director at Joplin, and I went to him, and I'm new. I don't want to get in your backyard and try to take any of your customers, because we want to work together. Right. And did the same thing with Judd Chestnut at Lamar. That way, as local shops, we're not chasing the same customers and trying to. And so that's worked out good for this period of time, but it has also created these relationships for all of us too. So now we kind of build off those relationships.
So if you have a need in one area, you can help the other side in the other area.
Yeah, and I'll give you an example, like Liberty Utilities. We're doing some recycle stuff with them now, and we're also getting ready to do some secure document stuff with them. And so both shops benefit, and allows each one to kind of meet the need in their local area, so it works out well.
So when we talk in terms of regions, we talk about the Joplin Carthage Workshop, how big of a geographical area are you working with for that?
For both of us, I say we go out about 50-60 mile radius, and so it varies a little bit, but we pretty much stay in that zone there. And so one of the things, one of the workshops, you look at these 89 shops. The Springfield and Nixa, they had a project that was too big for them to do alone, and so they contacted Carthage, Joplin, Lamar, and we helped with that project.
How can we carry that overload, right?
And so a project that was too big for one, we all were able to partake in it, and it just created opportunities for our folks. And so, and I think everybody still maintains kind of that vision now. So we try to work together to kind of not only meet the customer's need, but it meets our ultimately your people that are working with you. Right.
Well, let's talk about the people side, the employee side as well. You have a lot of people working, as you said, for you. A lot of different skill levels involved. You just kind of do an assessment when they get hired. And
that's right. So I don't know how the best way to quantify that for you, but we kind of go freshman, sophomore, junior, senior.
Kind of a graduated scale.
And so it really, and you just kind of have to assess what they can do, and so they can be successful. We don't want somebody to get frustrated with what they're doing.
Right.
And so we try to manage that as well. And the tough thing for me, as you bid these jobs, you're thinking, oh, this will be something our folks can really do well, and they're going to love it because they're going to be able to make good money at it, and you're thinking, oh, this will be great. And then they start doing it, and you're like, oh no, they're not.
It didn't click the way you thought. Yeah.
And then a job that you think might be hard, they pick it up, and man, they just rock and roll with it. So you never, you think you know what you're doing, but everybody's just a little bit different,
But like all companies, you have training, you have safety training. Everyone goes through, the procedures and what they need to do.
Yeah, we're no different than, I guess, a normal employer from safety standpoint and that training. So, we have our monthly safety topics, and we go through that. And sometimes things have to be a little bit more repetitive, but yeah, everybody pretty much knows what to do if something occurs. So, and we've got people in place to help and assist to make sure they're safe. So
now, do you have some employees who've been there for a long time, long-term employees?
Oh, wow. Yeah, we've got several employees that have been there over 30 years at both locations, and so yeah, it's a little family, and it's kind of amazing, you know.
So they're supportive of each other. You really have that family environment feeling.
They definitely like the time. One of the good times at Joplin is the Christmas party. They have a great time. Tracy brings in a DJ, and we kind of shut down for the afternoon and have the meal brought in, and then we dance the afternoon away till quitting time, and everybody seems to have a good time. We gave away a few prizes this year, so it was a good time, but everybody enjoyed it.
So they're doing well. What about the transportation aspect? People going to work or getting to locations, or what do you
I'll tell you, I think that's probably been the biggest challenge over the last few years, and it continues to be that way. And so one of the things we were focused on was finding some vans and purchasing a van. And so United Missouri Bank had gifted us $5,000 towards that goal. The City of Joplin gifted us a van as well. It was a MAPS van that they had discontinued, and so we were able to pick that up for $1.
Wow.
And then South Joplin Christian Church gave us a van as well. So we've got some resources to help us better transport people, not only getting them to and from work. We still depend on MAPS and the cab system to do the majority of that, but our main focus on getting this equipment was to be able to transport people to an on-site job.
So from your location to another business.
Yeah, and so that's one of the things we had done in Carthage for about the last 6 years, and it's been pretty successful for us, and we wanted to kind of replicate that in Joplin. And it gets people out in the workforce and interacting, and really better showcases the capabilities our folks have. And so we're looking for those opportunities now. And labor's tight, you know, unemployment's low, and we have a resource that can be successful in some environments there. So we're trying to make that happen. So we've got a little transportation to
help them get to those locations where they're needed. Of course, a nonprofit organization, 501c3. In addition to, of course, the funds that you raise by doing the business, do you also take donations or other ways? You mentioned people giving you vans and so forth.
Yeah, we do. And so if you feel blessed and want to give us some money or some resources like that, we'd gladly look at finding a way to use that. Susan Adams, the previous director, she had started a golf tournament, and we've had our second annual one this year, and that's one of our big fundraisers, and that usually occurs in September. And so that's another way, if you want to participate by underwriting some of that and gifting back. We try to fill that tournament up so we can generate some revenue for us that way as well. So there are a myriad of ways that you can serve or give back and
help from the community and supporting you. So if we're recording this in February, that's a September event, they could contact you anytime between now and then and say, what can I do to help out, and find along those. And then as a nonprofit, you also have a board of directors, people from the community who are volunteering their time to help you.
That is right. So our board is a 10-person board, and we've got one vacancy right now, but yeah, they all volunteer their time, and we spend a couple hours each month at our board meeting, and then they're involved throughout the rest of the month in different ways.
So they're an active board. They're not just, I'm going to show up for a meeting and see what's happening.
Yeah, they are an active board, and they're looking for opportunities within their companies or within their circle of influence to better the workshop and provide work for our folks. So, and they've all done that. So we appreciate everything they do to support the workshop, not only through their time but through their efforts to get the message out there that we're a resource for the community and offer a lot of different skill sets that they might need.
So if someone were to ask you, as director, you've been involved, what stands out in your mind as far as what the difference this makes in the people's lives, the people who are working for you?
Well, I think socialization, purpose, a sense of belonging, and they get a paycheck too, and so everybody's motivated by different things, and I don't necessarily think that pay is the only thing that motivates our folks. It's very sense of belonging and social and purpose for what they're doing, and so our folks have big hearts and they do a good job and want to do a good job, and they're there not only for themselves but for their fellow employee.
So they're committed to what they're doing. Now if people watching want more information, I know you have a phone number they can reach you at.
Yeah, so 417-781-2862 is the Joplin Workshop.
Right. And you also have a Facebook page, which
we do.
And people can keep up with what's happening there.
That's correct.
So, and for anyone has a business, you encourage them to contact you. But if somebody knows of somebody who might be interested or possibility working there, they could also go through that process as well.
That's right. And same number. We can answer all those questions
great.
there.
Any specific goals you have as director as you look to this year coming up?
Well, so just stabilizing Joplin so we're profitable and moving forward, and making sure we have a good base, and then we've kind of been at the status quo employee-wise for a couple of years, and really like to find opportunities to employ more folks and grow, and so I think we're going to get there. It's just, it's a process.
Steps, right.
but that's really the goal for now.
Great. Well, Jeff, I'd like to thank you very much for visiting with me today, sharing information with our audience.
Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for inviting me, and I've enjoyed it.
All right, you're welcome. And I'd like to thank you, the viewers, for joining us this week on Newsmakers. I'm Judy Stiles. Hope you can join me again next week at the same time on this station. We'll see you then.